I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do.
Hey, this is Zach Pasquarello. Good morning, how are you? Is now still a good time to talk? So what do you have going on? Yeah, I always recommend you guys try to do your dispatching on your own. Especially if you're the one driving. You're gonna save a lot of money, and I really think you're gonna have enough time to dispatch yourself, and you're gonna do a lot better job. No offense to any dispatcher out there, but if it's your business, if you're the one driving, like, no one cares more about this than you. So you're gonna put in extra work, you're gonna put in extra time, you're gonna find the best load, and you'll just have the best communication with the brokers. So I always, definitely recommend you try to dispatch yourself if you can. I definitely recommend get a laptop. You can buy a laptop for like $300 on Amazon or at Walmart, super cheap, and then you can probably use your phone as a hotspot for the Wi-Fi, and then that'll be your best way of going on the DAT load board, going on the Amazon Relay load board, and finding loads. Just being able to use the computer, it's a bigger screen, you have a keyboard, you can type, you can send emails, it's just a lot easier. And the computers really aren't that expensive. Yeah, you can work with the dispatcher for the first 30 days, and then I think you already said this, but just kind of slowly transition to doing it yourself. I think you'll be able to do it no problem. You do not need IFTA for a box truck, no. I don't have a portion plates for my box truck. I've heard mixed answers, but I'm not 100% sure that you need a portion plates for your box truck. No, you do not need to enter the consortium or the clearinghouse as long as you're non-CDL. It all depends on how much your truck weighs empty. So what I recommend, put your pallet jack in your truck, put your load bars, put your ratchet straps, fill up both gas tanks all the way up, and then, go to a scale and weigh your truck and find out how much your truck weighs empty. And then subtract that from 26,000 pounds, and then that's how you're gonna know how much you can haul. Yeah, and also, do you already have a subscription to the DAT load board? Yeah, a lot of brokers are probably gonna say that. So if you're hoping to dispatch your truck, you're just gonna need to make a lot of phone calls. You're just gonna need to put in the time. You're gonna spend 2 to 4 hours every day dispatching your truck. But the way I look at it, so you drive for 10 or 11 hours, but you're gonna be sitting at the shipper or the receiver for at least an hour. So while you're sitting there waiting to get loaded or unloaded, pull out your computer, look at the load board, start making some phone calls, and then, in the evening, whenever you're done driving, call some brokers, get on the load boards, make some phone calls. You should have plenty of time. You're gonna have to spend, a couple hours every day doing it, but you should be able to fit it in and dispatch your own truck. Whenever you call the broker, just be prepared to negotiate the price. So on the load board, the broker should put the origin and the destination, the zip code. So just look up the exact miles, and then also don't forget to factor in your current location. The deadhead miles might be 100 miles, might be 50 miles, but you need to know that before you negotiate with the broker. So find out the total mileage, and then you need to know your cost per mile. So before you negotiate with the broker, you need to understand how much it costs to operate your truck, and then you need to know how much profit you want to make. So once you know your cost per mile, then you just multiply that by how many miles you're going, and then that's how you negotiate with the broker. So if you know you want to make $2 per mile, and the load's going 400 miles, whenever you call the broker, I wouldn't start at $800. Maybe call the broker and say, hey, I'll move this for $1,000. And then the broker might counter with, $700. And then you negotiate from there. You counter with $900, and then you guys agree on $800 by you kind of going high in the beginning, and then he'll counter, you counter, he counters, then you guys come to an agreement. So always, always, always go into the conversation knowing exactly how much you want to get paid. Because these brokers, they're answering their phones 100 times a day. That's all they do. They talk on the phone. So they don't want to waste their time. You don't want to waste your time. So make sure you go into the conversation with all the information. And then a couple other things, ask if it's touch freight or no touch freight. Ask how many pickups and how many stops. Because sometimes you might pick up in one spot and then have to deliver it in 3 different spots, and that's going to be extra. You're going to have to charge extra for that. And then ask the dimensions. Make sure you know how tall your box is, because all box trucks are typically 24 or 26 feet long, and they're all usually 8 feet wide, but the height varies significantly. Some are 90 inches tall, some are 105 inches tall. So you need to know exactly how tall your box is. And then, obviously ask about the weight. So once you weigh your truck, you'll know, okay, my truck weighs 15,000 pounds, I can haul 10,000 pounds. And then also make sure you understand the pickup time and the delivery time. So, if it's 6 a.m. right now and the pickup is not until 12 p.m., that might not be a good load for you because you're going to have to sit around for 6 hours waiting to pick that up. And then if the delivery is same day or next day, or even sometimes I see loads on Thursday that can't be delivered until Monday or Tuesday, that's worthless to you. Like, you're not going to drive 400 miles on Thursday only just to have a Monday delivery, so that means you can't work Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So always make sure you understand the pickup and delivery time, especially with box trucks, because a lot of that freight is expedited. So a lot of it's same day. And also a lot of people incur penalties if you're late, because with box trucks, the expedited freight needs to get there on the arrival time. So for me, a couple weeks ago, I was 2 hours late and I ended up getting fined $50 an hour. So I lost $100 on the Raycom because I was 2 hours late. So just ask about all those little details. If I were you, I would seriously make a checklist. Have it right in front of you every time you call the broker. Just go through those questions. You said factoring? Yeah, I think it's a good idea because brokers won't pay you for 30 days. So if you work for an entire month, you're essentially you're not going to get any of that money until 30 days later. So the factoring company, they charge 3%, but they pay you instantly, within 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, so I would use whatever fuel card is associated with your factoring company. That's usually the best way to do it because your factoring company will give you a discount. If your factoring company will give you a 0.5% discount on your fuel card or on your factoring services if you use the fuel card they partner with. A lot of the fuel cards are the same. A lot of them have gimmicks and scams to get you signed up with them, but a lot of them offer 10, 20 cents off per gallon. They're all pretty similar. No, I wouldn't sign up. I wouldn't do factoring with a dispatcher. Yeah, if you're going to do factoring, I would do it with either RTS or OTR. Use one of the large national companies. I wouldn't mess around with a small dispatcher offering factoring services because what might end up happening is they might end up booking your loads under their MC number, and they might just essentially double broker the loads, and then they would be getting paid by the broker, and they would be controlling your income and then paying you, and then I just don't like the way that works. I would just work with keep your dispatcher and your factoring company separate. Yeah, make sure you understand your hours of service with your ELD. Do you understand how it works? Yeah. My other recommendation is that make sure you find a good diesel mechanic. You're gonna need to get your oil changed probably once a month. So I would recommend try to bring your truck to the same mechanic every time if you can. And the other thing, make sure you're tracking your expenses and your income. Make sure you obviously have a separate business checking account, business credit card, and try to keep everything separate from your personal expenses. Some of the credit cards are pretty cool. They have really good introductory options. A lot of credit cards have 0% interest for the first 12 months, which is really helpful. Capital One, American Express, they all have really good business credit cards. And then also, obviously I'm a bookkeeper, I'm an accountant, so I always talk about QuickBooks, but definitely make sure you get QuickBooks. Make sure you're keeping track of your expenses. That way, whenever it comes time for you to do your taxes, you're not trying to do an entire year of bookkeeping. I definitely recommend keep up with it on a weekly basis. Reconcile your accounts every month. Make sure your checking accounts, match your QuickBooks account. It really comes down to your cost per mile. You need to really understand your cost per mile. And it fluctuates on a daily basis. So it all depends on how much money you're spending on diesel, and it all depends on how much money you're making from the brokers. But as long as you understand your cost per mile, and as long as you're getting paid more than that from the brokers, you should be fine. Yeah, did you account for maintenance? How much do you have for maintenance per when? I would think it'd be more than that. What year is your truck? 2018. I would say 10 cents a mile. Maybe 15 cents a mile. So if you're driving 10,000 miles, that's between $1,000 and $1,500 a month. Yeah, because an oil change is gonna be like $350, maybe $450 every single month, and then you gotta think tires, random things go out all the time. So yeah, I think between $1,000 and $1,500 a month would probably be good for maintenance. And then tolls. I put 5 cents a mile in for tolls. $500 a month in tolls. It depends on where you are. If you're running out in the Midwest, out in Wyoming and North Dakota, might be less. If you're in New Jersey, New York, definitely going to be more. So it all depends on the region of the country, but 5 cents per mile is probably a good estimate for tolls. And then 8 miles per gallon, that might be accurate. I get 7.6 miles per gallon on my box truck. So 7.6. But the cool thing about the Keep Truckin' ELD is it'll tell you exactly what your miles per gallon is. So you'll have an exact number after you run for a couple weeks. Yeah, if you ever have any questions in the future, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help. Yeah, good luck with everything.